Happy Monday. Surprise, surprise, I am back on the road again. This time flew down to Perth last night and I'm on my way to Canberra, the capital. Never been to Canberra before. Very, very, very excited. Why am I going to Canberra? We're going to Canberra because the 777 Pilbara team are up for 2 awards at the National Rural Health Awards. I am so incredibly proud of my employers and the team. Like, I honestly can't think of anybody more deserving. And yeah, I'm just very grateful that they've got like a few people coming along. Like, we've got quite a few of the proprietors. We've got a pharmacist manager. I don't know, I just feel like I'm this little random ECP tagging along for no good reason. Other than I'm creating a vlog, but yeah, I'm very grateful to be able to go with them and like celebrate with them. They're up for 2 awards. They got 2 nominations, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, we've got a lot. We've got a lot to get through in the next 3 days. So I'm gonna run you through my schedule. But before I do, oh my gosh, guys, no, okay, so I have to tell you about the glorious morning that I've had. It's been wonderful. I got up, I went to a Pilates class. It was like a red light strength class because I've been really getting into Pilates lately, but I was the only one in the class. But we're about to get really hectic. We have a flight out of Canberra at 12 o'clock, meeting the team at the airport there. And then once we land, it's a 4.5-hour flight, I think, but it's actually gonna be 7 p.m. there, like over East, because they've also got daylight savings, which daylight savings, for people who live in Western Australia and they have daylight savings over East, like that is just the most annoying thing for West Australians. Like, can we just stop it? Can we just all pick one time? Anyway, that's that tangent. We're gonna go to a Japanese place for dinner, which I'm super excited about. And then the next day, so Tuesday, we're going to be tourists for the day. It's supposed to be raining, so we don't know how far we're gonna get, but hopefully we'll get to Parliament House. Looks like apparently the War Memorial is really good. There's a lookout that seems quite nice, like it's a good trek up there, beautiful view. And then also where our accommodation is, it's a really good food strip, lots of shops there. Yeah, so we're just gonna be Canberra tourists for the day. Country folk hit the capital. And then on Wednesday's the big day, so we'll probably do some more touristy things, but in the evening we are going to the National Rural Health Awards. It's just gonna be really nice being in a room full of people who have dedicated and just committed so much to the rural communities that they serve. And I don't know, I'm just excited to be there to hear the stories that come out of it, because it really is inspiring. Like, people think so far out of the box to be able to do the things that they do for the people that they serve. And I think the most innovative ideas often come out of a rural health concept, because sometimes you genuinely have no normal options, and then your random, very quickly put together option that you can do becomes a really brilliant idea. And I just love listening to those stories. So yeah, it's going to be super exciting. I need to catch the train and get on this flight. I probably should have left my house 5 minutes ago, but I'm still here chatting. Honestly, I've actually been really enjoying the vlogs. This is my 3rd vlog that I filmed. I'm really liking this, guys. So if you're liking it, let me know, but please, if there's anything that you want to see, you need to tell me so that I can show you a bit more, because I'm having heaps of fun, but obviously want you guys to have fun as well. Oh, my mum's calling me. Okay, we gotta go. Oh, we need to get dinner. We've been delayed because our flight was delayed, and so we've missed our dinner, and now we are going to the convenience store instead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Didn't like it.
oh, it didn't like us.
Keep away from this corner.
Oh, I got you. I was trying to make space for shit.
Sorry, I squeezed in too quickly. So I'm being a bit of a boring one, and we've just spent a couple of hours like sitting on the couch, got some dinner. We got our Uber Eats because obviously we missed our dinner reservation. I thought while I unpack my suitcase, I asked you guys on Instagram while I was on the plane. I was like, I'm on the plane, I've got a couple of hours. You liked my unsolicited pharmacist advice last week, so I'm going to do a question poll and you can ask whatever you want this week. Let's read a couple of them out and give you some things while I'm unpacking. The first one is, what is the best way to remember side effects for drugs for exams? Honestly, I actually don't have a very good answer for this. I just still stick to the general memorization structure of when you're trying to memorize drug knowledge, remember that, again, it is not about writing and reading and looking at notes and lecture slides, because at the end of the day, what we know always has to be communicated in our job. So you reading and writing kind of doesn't help you communicate that stuff in a real life setting, especially for like an oral exam. It's actually about like looking at it and then saying as much information as you can out loud, like you're presenting it to somebody else. So I never really had a structure to remembering side effects per se when I was studying as a student. I always just grouped them into common, and then infrequent and rare were kind of gathered together. So it was always like, you know, you don't want to overload yourself with all the side effects of a medication because that's just not sustainable. But you do the generalized common ones because they're common. Those are the ones that you definitely want to share with people. And then I'd pick a few of the major infrequent or rare side effects, particularly whatever's in the AMH where it lists it as a rare side effect and then it has information underneath being like see below, and it will go into more detail, or anything to do with where that side effect is then related to a precaution that it lists in the AMH. Those would be what I would remember. Is there a clinical advice line that pharmacists can reach out to? I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, would love to know if anybody else knows of one. There isn't one specifically for pharmacists where you can just reach out for any clinical advice line. But I, many times as a pharmacist, have called like the medicines information line at your state tertiary hospitals. So each state has their major hospitals, and there's usually a medicines information pharmacist or department through that hospital. And you can call them. If you look up on the AMH, it will give you a list of those hospitals. So if any time that I have any sort of complex pediatric inquiry, I'll call Perth Children's Hospital's medicines information pharmacist. If I have anything like mental health wise, we can call Greylands, which is WA's mental health hospital. Women's and children's, I'll call King Eddie's, things like that. So anytime that you're looking for clinical advice where you're needing some more information, you can go there. But if it's more, if you're looking for an advice line where it's like an advice line to help you choose a clinical pathway, I don't think that exists. That will just be built up through your experience as you go along as a pharmacist, I guess. But you will get used to it and you will get more confident, and the more exposure you get, the more capacity that you have to be able to make clinical decisions. But always remember, lean on the people that you work with. Lean on those people that you know that you can turn to be like, this is the situation, this is what I'm thinking of doing, but like, what do you think? Don't be afraid to ask for help. Third question is, any advice for a hospital intern who isn't sure whether they should try community next year? One thing that I want to be very clear about, people, is that there's just this big misconception that if you go into one field, it's really hard to get back into the other. In particular, if you don't get into hospital early, it's hard to, like, you can't get into hospital later on. Will it be a little bit harder? Maybe. Is it impossible? Absolutely not. I just genuinely believe that there will always be a way where you can go into any industry pathway that you want to, because everywhere is literally screaming for pharmacists. Like, I just refuse to believe that if I decide to go back into hospital, like, I won't be able to get back into hospital. Like, I fully believe that I will be able to. Use your connections. If you network, if you meet people, if you do some like interesting projects, or do some side things that I guess like a little bit broader than just your stereotypical. Like, literally, guys, we can do anything. We can move into any field. That pharmacists are needed everywhere. If you're wanting to go and leave your hospital job and try community, like go do it. I think the sooner you try those things and move around and diversify, the easier it is, as well as the better off you will be for it, because then you also figure out what you do and don't like earlier on, right? And if you don't do it, you're only going to live in this like place of wondering whether you should or shouldn't have done it. And then if you do it, it'll either work out and you'll be like, this was the best decision ever. And if it doesn't work out, you can go, okay, cool, I know that that wasn't the right decision for me, and I will find something else. Like, when there's a will, there's a way, guys. You can do anything, and do not let anybody tell you otherwise. I feel like I'm a good example of that. Like, I'm literally doing low-key whatever I kind of like at the moment, because I'm strong-minded, passionate, I have good intentions, and I try to do things with integrity. And I think if you demonstrate that, those are some very hireable skills over whether you do or don't have the specific experience that they're looking for, because if you're approachable, adaptable, flexible, that's much more important. And you get flexibility and approachability and adaptability by diversifying. So I think if you're thinking about it, take the leap. Should I stay at my community pharmacy with a soon promised promotion, or go to hospital pharmacy? So this is in the opposite direction. This is a tricky one. I think when you really sit with it and just go, I'm gonna like switch off the head noise of like, what about this? What about that? What if this? What if that? And just sit there and go, if I had to pick like a particular line for the next, and I had to stay in that position for like the next couple of years or forever, which one in my gut feels better? And you know, I've followed my gut before, and those jobs where I have followed my gut haven't necessarily been the long-term solutions for me, but they've definitely been so instrumental to getting me to the point where I am now. But at the same time, really try to do your research, because what you've entered into this question box is like promised in quotation marks. So that sounds like to me that it's not guaranteed. I definitely think there's ways that you can advocate for yourself and be like, I want to know whether this is happening now or not. Like, it's daunting and it's hard, but you do have the power and the courage to, I guess, put a time frame on, I need to know whether this is happening or not within this time frame. Please tell me. Be that person for yourself. Nobody is going to advocate for yourself more than you. There's definitely people that really support you. Like, I'm in a workplace and like I'm literally, everybody that I'm traveling with today just like backs me 100%. But at the end of the day, it is you that has to like speak up. So if it's like promised and you are kind of in this limbo and they're leaving you in this limbo, be that strong person for yourself, be that strong pharmacist, and find out for yourself, because that's ultimately also going to make a big impact on your decision. There's quite a few more questions on that, but I think I'm going to leave it there because I feel like I'm falling asleep as I'm talking. Yeah, that's the little advice session. I actually do really like that last question that I liked. I feel like it's a little bit controversial. You know, like that's a really honest question to ask. And obviously when I do the question box, like it remains anonymous. You know how many of us go through that and nobody really talks about it unless you ask somebody that you trust personally. But yes, I need to get to bed because I'm going for my second Pilates session tomorrow. The next couple of clips should be me at a Pilates session in 3, 2, 1. Good morning. Woken up to what is not a beautiful day, but a very beautiful view of Canberra. It's actually, I have to say, like really pretty place and very green. I'm not used to seeing so much greenery because obviously I live in the wild, wild west and it's just red dirt and it's very dry. I haven't seen rain properly for a good 6 months up there. But yeah, she's stunning. Very clean, very pristine. Everything's like all, I'll show you the view in a second. Yeah, it's what I expected, but not what I expected. I'll show you what I mean in a second. Serious regrets, guys, booking so many Pilates classes in a row. It's a bit painful. It's a real struggle and I have another 2 days worth to go, but we persevere. I also have to say, I don't know, I think I was like I'm pretty good at getting up early in the morning. Like I'm a 6 a.m. girl, just wake up. That's my natural body clock. And so I timed this class to be like 9:30, 6:30 a.m. WA time, that's fine. But I have to say, getting up was a struggle. Like I still got 8 hours sleep, but holy Lord, like that was jet lag. It was a bit rough. We had to have an espresso shot before the class, which usually I try not to have caffeine first thing in the morning, but I was like, today's not the day. Today, that's going out the window. Let me show you this view. Hang on a sec. Also gonna see if I can go outside. Like, check that out. It's not raining currently. I think because I've been inside, I'm quite warm, and it's nice just to have a really fresh, cool breeze. I'm not used to that. Don't get that very often. I don't know, I just feeling very grateful right now. Like this life, this career has, taken a pivot in a way that I never thought that it would. Like, to be honest, I wouldn't really have ever travelled to Canberra. I don't know, it's just not on the bucket list. I feel like there's a lot of other beautiful places in Australia that I would, like, not saying that Canberra's not beautiful, but I would go to those first. So it's really nice having this opportunity to come here because of my job. Like, that's crazy. Zoom this in to see if you can, that is Parliament House there. Like, you don't realise how big, you see it on the news all the time, but you don't realise how big it is. Crazy. We better get ready for the day. The other guys stayed out a bit late, so they're still waking up. But I need to have a shower and get myself sorted and not hold everybody up because they'll be wanting to go out and about. So yeah, let's go be tourists for the day. Maybe I am a type B person when I always thought I was type A.
Okay, so your question is, my friends and I are going to WA next year for placement. What do we need to know?
Only pick a rural location because they are the best and that's where the best people are.
When you're on placement, make sure you get to know the team that you're working with, and they'll give you some little tips and tricks of like where to go and what to see in the local area.
Any advice for a hospital intern who isn't sure whether to try community next year?
You should absolutely try community because there are lots of opportunities in community and you still get a lot of clinical experience, especially in rural areas where you can expand your knowledge and learn from many other pharmacists. Yeah.
Perfect answer.
Yeah, perfect answer.
Yeah, they got interviewed. I did a little. I have to say, I've never tried these espresso pods before, but they're actually pretty good. I am really sorry, guys. I have been a terrible vlogger for like the last 12 hours. I don't know, I think the jet lag is definitely catching up with me because, yeah, waking up yesterday morning, I was like, oh, this is a bit rough. And then got out and about, it was fine. And then it just hit about, I'm gonna say 1 p.m. Canberra time. And I was just like, holy Lord, she is tired. And so we were going about our day and then we were going out, for dinner, and we tried a few different little bars and things, really cute little jazz bar. And I just crashed. So just having another little espresso. As I was saying, these coffee pods are actually really nice. I'm not one for an espresso. I like my lattes, but I've got none of the milk that I prefer in the fridge, and there's just no point buying it because today's our last day in Canberra, which is actually really sad because I've really enjoyed it and it's really beautiful. And today is a stunning day. Let me show you the view outside our living room. Look at this. Like, wow. That is incredible. I'm going to try zoom in for you as well. Yeah, you can see Parliament House over there. Like, it's just surrounded by water. It's a beautiful day, clear skies. Honestly, so different to yesterday. I have never been so cold in my life. And we went to the Australian War Memorial, which that sounds pretty bleak when you say it, but I have to, like, all 5 of us left there after doing a little guided tour, and we were just amazed. Like, it has to be a highlight. So the reason that we are in Canberra is for the National Rural Health Awards, because my employers, Ben, Laura, Lee, they are up for 2 awards actually. So the first one is recognising a significant contribution to rural health access. You know, these guys have just been able to bring an entire, like a huge team of pharmacists. It was something like, they were telling me last night, 25 pharmacists to the Pilbara, which is huge. You know, obviously the more pharmacists you have, then the more healthcare access and health advice people have because you've got more people available. Also, the other crazy part is just under 50% of these 25 pharmacists are previous prac students, myself included. So just the fact that it's like they've invested so much in their placement program because they know that's how they can recruit, and they give students a good experience, and then we're like, hell yeah, we're coming back. Honestly guys, students listening, community pharmacy, working up there with them, for me, that's when I was like, this is what community pharmacy is about. And I think that's the same for a lot of other pharmacists that did their pracs that then came back. So even if you have a job lined up or a particular field that you want to go into, I still just highly recommend getting that experience because it'll be so different to, I guess, other regions that you go to. Any rural placement, obviously, I think is going to be just extremely valuable. So my advice is just do it while you can. I'm just extremely proud of them. Very glad that the weather is much nicer. We can wander around, soak in a little bit of sun. So yes, down with the espresso to give me the little bit of pep, and off we go.
Oh, what are these?
Here we go. All right, off we go. Smile, Miss Mirror.
I'll show us your little bag.
Is this from Singapore?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're thinking. That is a very harsh cut. She's clearly not in Canberra anymore. But seriously, I guess it just turned into a bit of a whirlwind, exciting night, and the camera had to go away. I just wanted to enjoy the moment with the team, and honestly, if I kept up with the vlog, I feel like a very terrible vlogger because I was like, doing the whole trip and then just like cut out at the end of the most important part. But at the same time, I wanted to be there because Pharmacy 777 Pilbara team, Employer, Rural and Remote Health Employer of the Year, nationally. I am just so excited for them. Like, as somebody who has gone through, I guess, the support and uplifting and feeling more enjoyment in my job because of what they have provided for me, like, I can't think of anybody more deserving. And so it was just really special to be able to see that recognition for them, because I know that they deserve to be recognised and that it's there. But it's one thing to say that if you work there, it's a whole other thing for, I guess, a national organisation like Rural Health Pro to recognise that on a formal level. So that was really awesome. Yeah, which is why the night took a bit of a turn. Obviously we were like, hell yeah, going out for the evening, we're going to celebrate, be with our friends. It also turned out that the bar that we went to, like the Pharmacy Guild of Australia was doing an event at the Parliament House. We went to the bar. Guess who was there? Half of the Pharmacy Guild of Australia. So we ended up just mingling with more pharmacists in a random bar, got some martinis, also saw my absolute favourite people on NAPSA, which was awesome. And yeah, I feel like that was just an excellent way to end the evening, being surrounded by people who are part of our profession. But yes, I really wanted to give you an overview of this event. Like, that's why we were in Canberra. And I guess the main thing is I wanted to share some of the incredible stories and the incredible initiatives that are going on in rural health, not just in pharmacy, but across the board in general, because that is the most uplifting and inspiring part about being in rural healthcare, is that you see, and you know what, the number of teams that were there as finalists or as winners as well, like this multidisciplinary focus, because, and you know what, the best things happen when you're part of a collaborative team. That's why there were so many of them that were represented there, because it just goes to show, like, literally multidisciplinary teams in rural healthcare, they are doing it to the best. Like, they're awesome. I really wanted to share just a couple of the things that I was like, wow, that is very impressive, or oh my goodness, that is so outside of the box that I almost don't even really understand what you're saying, but it sounds fabulous. So the first thing was a multidisciplinary team that was doing this all-in project, and it was about rheumatic heart disease. So rheumatic heart disease is a very big issue and quite prominent, and more prominent, I guess, in your northern regions of WA, Northern Territory, far North Queensland. We see and deal and treat a lot of rheumatic heart disease. So when I found out that the project that they had been running for prevention measures had reduced the incidence of rheumatic heart disease by 57% in far North Queensland, 57% reduction in the area that they were working in, I was like, wow, that's huge. That is over 50%. Yes, okay. Then we had another multidisciplinary team working together on a project with a very, very cool statistic. So these guys were working on prevention measures for heart failure and reducing heart failure related admissions to their hospitals in the areas that they were servicing. So their work managed to reduce heart failure related admissions from 68% to 32%. Again, huge. Like, that is incredible. Yes, here was another one. This was the one where I was like, this sounds revolutionary, for one, to the point where I don't really understand it. Specialist doctor focusing a lot on endocrinology, GI, that kind of thing, and works with a lot of patients who require endoscopy. Now, you have to travel long distances to get that particular type of surgery and that particular type of scope, which can be really difficult, really frustrating, time consuming, a lot of coordination, costly. And the reason for that in particular is because you need to go under general anesthesia. So this particular doctor found and developed a way alongside a multidisciplinary team, particularly with nurses, to be able to find a way where they could deliver endoscopy services without the need for an anaesthetist. So it was like a telehealth sort of situation that was guiding and liaising the other doctors and nurses on hand who are actually dealing with the endoscope. That's pretty revolutionary as well. You are literally changing like the accessibility of that service, which is a major service, to rural patients where otherwise we have to fly absolutely everywhere for. Those were the main, I guess, things that I picked up where I was like, these are really cool stories. It was an absolute privilege to be there, to be able to listen to it, to meet people amongst Rural Health Pro. I guess I really appreciate everything that they do to advocate within the rural health space. And it was just really nice that, I guess, you know, pharmacy is a small world and we do get boxed away a little bit. And it was just really nice to be there in a room with other people who, I don't know, I think rural health professionals have a really good understanding and level of respect and appreciation for the other health professionals around them. And so we just chat and make friends with others so easily because of that, because we literally rely on each other. Obviously, you can tell that we had a glorious evening. Please, if you've enjoyed watching this kind of stuff, you know what to do, subscribe. And yeah, I will see you next time for the next vlog, which the next vlog, surprise, surprise, is going to be another travel vlog, but this time it'll be traveling to another remote pharmacy. So a bit more in pharmacy specific, but again, traveling. And that's the beauty of, I guess, this job that I found myself. So yeah, make sure you keep your eye out. Thank you so much for watching me absolutely ramble for the last 3 days. I can't believe that if you have sat here and watched this, like, I actually can't believe it, and I'm so appreciative of you because I genuinely do not understand why somebody would want to watch me and my life and just talk for this long over this many days. So yeah, big love. Alrighty, I'm actually going to leave now. Bye.